welcome to Play with the World. That is the name of my website, but this is actually the Awakened and Aligned podcast show or YouTube show, depending how you're tuning in. And I'm Shannon Kaiser, the guide for you today. I'm the author of several books on the psychology of happiness and getting unstuck, including Return to You, Adventures for Your Soul, and also lots of other books, actually. And I am a life coach, a trauma-informed life coach, and a mindset coach. And I'm here to help you today cultivate stronger and healthier relationships. That's right. That's our topic for today. And it's a very special topic because here we are. Really, if you're watching this when it first comes out, it's Valentine's Day week here in America, and it's all about love. Love, love, love. Whether you're in a relationship or you're looking to create stronger relationships with others, it really comes back down to how we relate to others and how we can cultivate more meaningful, deep, rich, and rewarding connections. So today I'm going to share with you 5 tips. And as we go through this process today, I invite you to get a pen and paper if you want a mini life coaching session or just simply take in the information. But more importantly, pick someone in your life that you actually want to improve a relationship with. Maybe it's a significant other, a family member, a coworker, someone in the community, or a best friend. Maybe it's even you, because I do believe it all comes back to us, and creating relationships has to start with ourselves. So the 5 tips I share today, please do apply them with you and yourself first and foremost, and then we can then create healthier dynamics with those around us. So the very first step I want to share today is I'll just dive right in, is to really heal your vulnerabilities. Now, as I take you through the tips, I want to kind of honor that I represent and kind of show up in the space of spirituality, mental health, and then also this place of really coming into a place of understanding from self-love. And so we can't move forward in life if we're not really looking at the layers. So when we talk about relationships, it's the spiritual, emotional, physical, mental areas in which you're showing up. And we can't just say communicate better with those. Oh, yeah, to get a better relationship, share your needs with others and let yourself be heard. Like, these are great tips, but they're very surface level and they will only last so long because we're not looking at the underneath. And so today's lesson, if you will, is really about the underneath. So you can have and be on a standing solid ground, a very firm foundation that is unbreakable. This is how we create the most meaningful, strong connections that last the test of time. And so when I say heal your vulnerabilities, this means looking inward at where your vulnerabilities are and where you are looking outside to fill those. For example, for many, many years, I was attracting a lot and I was going out and in between relationships and I was looking for love in the sense of wanting connection. I was leading with connection. I was like, I want connection and I really just want to meet people and have a good connection. And I was really putting that at the top of my list. But what it was allowing was a lot of people pleasing behavior, a lot of me ignoring my own needs, not even being honest with myself about how I felt. It was more of, do they like me? What can I do to show them I'm kind of here for them? Instead of, the shift came when I started to say, well, do I really like them? Do I really feel that my time is worth spending with this person? Energy, time is a resource for us. And if you're giving and leaking out your energy all the time to other people because you have a need that's not getting met by your own self, then often we will fall into the process of our vulnerabilities. And sometimes those vulnerabilities get taken advantage of. And that's when we get into unhealthy, toxic dynamics. And it's easy to blame other people and say that they're toxic. But the truth is, there's always people, 2 people or multiple people, when we're relating in with other people. So in relationships, we have to look at where our vulnerabilities are. And for me, I wasn't even aware that I was a people pleaser. And I wasn't even aware that I was showing up in relationships at the sacrifice of self. So I started to really do the inner work to really look at, what is my side of the street? How am I showing up? And how can I really protect myself from a place of love so I can show up in more love and be more self-full, if you will. Jessica Baum, the author of Anxiously Attached, one of my also author mentor clients who I've worked with in the past to help her bring that book out into the world. I have author mentoring clients as well as my trauma-informed mindset coaching that I do. She talks about self-full, and we have to be able to get our needs met from where we are. and who we are. So I started to really connect with myself. I started to really become my own best friend. Therefore, I wasn't leaning on the outside world to fulfill something. I wasn't needing someone else to be what I thought they needed to be. Instead, I was filling my own cup. So practice this. For you, what is your vulnerability? If you're writing this down, the process is step number 1 to heal your vulnerabilities. Step number 2 is to align with a higher value. We all have values and morals. Some of us, different slides of the scale. Some people aren't very morally or focused on integrity. But what I mean by this is we all have a value system in which we're leading. So for many years, I was leading with connection. I want connection in my life. And this was a value that was driving me, but connection was getting me a lot of disrespect. Connection was getting me a lot of betrayal of other people and also betraying of myself. I wasn't being honest with myself. I was allowing really crappy behavior because I was like, well, at least we get to hang out on their terms, or at least we get to, connect when it's convenient for them. Never putting myself in the equation. And I realized my values were a little bit out of whack. So I looked at what is a value that is of a higher quality, that is more true. And I realized it's respect. And so I started to lead my life from a place of respect, not only self respect, but does this person respect me? Do I feel respected in this dynamic? Does this feel reciprocal? My whole entire world changed. I started to really see relationships in a new way. So many of the relationships that I was involved in, whether it was a family dynamic, with entrepreneurs, personal friendships, and romantic people and interests and people in personal space, they disappeared. All of the ones who were really using that energy. But when if I was kind of leading from connection, and I was now leading with respect, those who weren't respecting me fell out of my life. And I started to create more meaningful relationships. And over time, by standing in my standards and having my boundaries, some of these people rose to the occasion and started to realize, wow, I do need to respect and show up more. And what happens is they show up for themselves, because when other people do things, we have to realize we don't have to take it personal. And this is really another step that we can think of, is when we're taking it personal, we're thinking it's about us. But if you can think and realize that what people say and do is really about them 100%, you may have triggered something, but it really has nothing to do with you because it's their own experience. Then we can let people be who they are and detach from us needing to have them be a certain way. This is a very powerful tool in your relationships. And I encourage and invite you to try it out over the next couple of weeks, to really, when somebody says something to you, instead of feeling, if they maybe tell you something about you that you don't really think is true, you just listen and say, thank you for sharing your perspective. I'm curious to know why you think that. You detach yourself from feeling defensive, like you need to prove. This also comes back to self-love. The more you love yourself, the more you realize that what people say and do is about them. And the more you can detach and allow yourself to be who you are. So when you share, so first and foremost, you heal your vulnerabilities, and then you start to raise into a higher vibration of a value that is more true to you and gets you the results that you want. And then you really step into this place of number 3, well, 4 really, is to share your inner world with the outer world. A lot of the times we will fantasize and project or assume. So many times in my communication with others before, and also when I healed this pattern, I saw how people were projecting and making stories up that weren't even true. And this really comes back down to people having their own version of trying to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. If somebody doesn't read your message or doesn't respond, or if somebody isn't showing up in the household in the way that you need them to, instead of internalizing that, getting mad, feeling resentful, openly communicate in a kind, compassionate way. Share how you're feeling. Share and say, this is something that's important to me and I feel this way. Instead of saying you do this and attacking, you're just sharing your feelings. Or you can say how you're thinking, when you do this, it makes me think or feel that maybe you don't care about me as much. Or by putting yourself in the place of allowing yourself to express yourself, you start to shift your entire dynamics. And the right people who are healthy and can communicate and hear you will show up in a space where they allow you to be who you are. And what we really want is healthier relationships all around. You can even start by saying, I'm not attacking you. This isn't an ultimatum. I'm simply just sharing how I've been feeling lately. And I'm hoping you can maybe just hear me out, and maybe we can come to I'm communicating. Maybe we can come to a term, can have a resolution, because the goal for us is to lean in and grow versus pull out and fall apart. And if you're really committed to your connections, no matter who it is in your life, this will be received with a lot of love and grace. The final step that I'll share with you today is to don't assume, just ask. And that's really what we just talked about. It's actually, let's put that one in the one step we just talked about. And another step that I really wanted to share is to let people be who they are. Again, this comes back to not internalizing or personalizing, and just let people be who they are instead of trying to change them. When we're trying to get people to do what we want, it keeps them from being who they really are or showing up in a way when they feel inspired. So instead of you looking to your relationships to fill a hole or need, be selfful in your own experience of life. Love yourself, and then live from a place of learning through your own experience. And when you do this, you start to cultivate healthier dynamics and you feel better from the inside out. So thank you for joining us today. So good to be with you, playing with the world. I hope you guys have a great day.